Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're digging into a type of sacred space that's been quietly popping up all over the globe for more than 100 years, the Bahá'í House of Worship. And as you'll see, their whole purpose is kind of summed up in their design. Think of it as a place with many different doors, but only one room for everyone inside.
So let's start with this quote. It's 2013, and we're on a rooftop in Bihar Sharif, India. An elderly man is saying this with tears in his eyes as he's trying to wrap his head around a totally new idea. What could possibly move someone so deeply?
Well, he was sitting in on a community meeting about a new kind of temple they were planning to build right there in his village. And as he listened to the plans, something just clicked. It dawned on him that this place, this Bahá'í House of Worship, was going to be different. For the very first time in his entire life, he realized his family would be welcomed. No questions asked, no conditions.
And that gets to the absolute heart of it, this idea of a radical welcome. For that man on the rooftop, this wasn't just some building. It was a space designed from the ground up to be a universal place of worship, a place open to absolutely everyone for their own personal prayer and reflection, no matter who they are, where they come from, or what they believe.
Okay, so the door is open to everyone. That's a huge deal. But what actually happens inside? What is the real purpose of these buildings? Well, it turns out their function is built on this really powerful two-part concept.
The official name for a house of worship is Mashrikul Adhkar. Now that's an Arabic term, and it translates to something really beautiful. The dawning place of the mention of God. The name itself gives you this sense of a new day, of spiritual light shining on the whole community.
You see, the Mashrikul Adhkar is built on what are called two inseparable pillars, worship and service. They're like two sides of the same coin. On one hand, it's this very quiet, peaceful space for personal prayer. There's no clergy, no sermons. It's just about a direct, personal connection. But, and this is the key, that quiet, inward reflection is meant to inspire outward action. The temple is also designed to be this buzzing hub of service, inspiring projects that help lift up the whole community.
And this isn't a new idea. It was baked in from the very beginning. Abdul-Baha, who was the son of the founder of the faith, explained that the long-term vision is for the temple to be at the center, and then gradually all these other institutions for social good would be built around it. Schools, hospitals, places to care for people. So worship and service are meant to be literally woven together.
So a vision this big obviously doesn't happen overnight. It's actually been this very deliberate, careful process of growth that's been unfolding for over a century, spreading from just an idea to a global reality.
Let's look at the timeline. The very first temple in the West got the green light way back in 1903 in Wilmette, Illinois. But get this, it took a full 50 years to actually build and open it. After that, a really strategic plan was put in motion to build these huge, iconic mother temples on every single continent. But then, in 2012, something big changed. The focus shifted away from these massive continental symbols and toward building temples that were more connected to national and even local communities.
Yeah, that 2012 announcement was a real game changer. It marked this major pivot away from building these giant continental landmarks towards something totally new. Building spaces that are deeply, truly woven into the day-to-day fabric of local life. And you can see the contrast right here. The early continental temples, they were designed to be these grand, iconic structures. Symbols, really. But these newer national and local temples, they're intentionally simpler, more modest. The goal isn't just to establish a presence anymore. It's to become a living, breathing part of the community.
So how do you actually do that? It's a fascinating design puzzle. There are a few ground rules. Every temple has to have 9 sides and a central dome. But beyond that, the designs draw inspiration right from the local culture. So in India, it looks like a lotus flower. In Colombia, it's inspired by a cocoa pod. They make a point to use local materials and building styles, all to make sure the final building really feels like it belongs there.
And here's something that might surprise you. You'd think building the thing would take the most time, right? Well, that's actually the fastest part, usually just a couple of years. The stages that take the longest, we're talking up to 7 or 8 years, are the really careful processes of finding the exact right piece of land and selecting the architect. It just shows how much thought and deliberation goes into getting the foundation right before a single shovel hits the ground.
So with this new focus on being hyper-local, what does the future look like for the dawning place of the mention of God? Where's this all heading?
Well, as of early 2024, this vision has led to 14 of these unique temples being built around the world. And the newest ones, in places like Cambodia, Colombia, and Kenya, they are the perfect examples of this new locally focused model. And there are many more in the pipeline.
And in the end, that's really the key takeaway. This whole evolution is about moving these sacred spaces beyond being just a destination, a place you make a special trip to visit. The real goal is for them to become completely interwoven into the daily rhythm of a community, a place where that quiet reflection naturally leads to everyday acts of service.
Which leaves us with this really powerful question, one that the people involved in these projects are thinking about all the time. What does it actually take for the people who live nearby to see the temple not just as a building, but as our house of worship? It's a deep question about what community really means, about belonging, and about the changing purpose of sacred space in our world today. Thanks for joining us on The Explainer.